A boy throws a piece of scrap iron at a fence. The fence crackles back at him, alive with electricity. That thin strip of wire is the only thing standing between two 8-year-old boys in two completely different worlds. One where a kid worries about toys and boredom, and one where survival itself is the daily assignment. They should never have met. They become best friends anyway. And by the end, that friendship costs one of them everything. This is one of the World War II historical movies with one of the most brutal endings. This is the story of Bruno. Before any of this, Bruno was just a normal kid living in a big, busy German city. School, friends, running home with his arms out like an airplane. That was the whole world. Then one afternoon, he comes home to find the house half-packed, furniture being hauled around like the family's about to disappear. His mother meets him with news dressed up as exciting. His father, Ralph, has just been promoted. He's being made commandant, put in charge of a military camp responsible for holding Jewish prisoners during the war, which translated for an 8-year-old means, "Pack your bags, kid, we're moving." The night before the move, there's a farewell party for Ralph. Colleagues, friends, the whole unit dancing and celebrating downstairs while Bruno stands frozen on the upper floor watching it all, already dreading whatever's coming next. His friends say their goodbyes in their own clumsy little kid way, and then it's 3 days and 3 nights on a train to a place none of them have seen. What greets them is about as far from exciting new adventure as it gets. Gray walls, a lifeless compound, the whole place radiating a kind of dread even a child can pick up on. Bruno, unimpressed, climbs onto his windowsill anyway and squints out through the gap. In the distance, barracks, people moving around a field. He runs off to ask his mother if he can go play with the kids over there.
Just to see what they're like, because they look a bit strange.
Innocent request, loaded location. Bruno starts noticing something odd. Everyone out there is wearing the same striped pajamas. Even the elderly servant who brings vegetables into the kitchen is wearing them underneath his coat. Bruno clocks it immediately because kids notice everything, especially the stuff adults are hoping they won't ask about. So he goes straight to his father with the question.
Why do the farmers wear pajamas? I can see them from my window.
And Ralph's answer is chilling in how casually he says it. Those people out there, he says, aren't really people at all. Bruno, more confused than ever, gets intercepted by his mother before the conversation can go any further. She tells him this is his father's workplace, kids aren't allowed near it, and sends him back to his room, promising she'll find him a proper playmate soon. Meanwhile, she's got her own question for Ralph.
There was one of them in our kitchen.
Why is there a servant from the other side working in their house? Ralph doesn't answer. Ralph doesn't do a lot of answering in this movie. With no friends and nothing to do, Bruno's reduced to playing checkers against himself, literally taking both sides of the board because there's nobody else around. His dream was always to be an explorer, flying free. Instead, he's a bird stuck in a very well-furnished cage. He finds a small door out back, and curiosity nearly gets the better of him. But his mother catches him just in time.
Bruno, what are you doing? Exploring! No, not at the back.
And hustles him away from it. During lunch, he watches the elderly servant peeling potatoes, wearing the same striped pajamas. When he's mentioned his earlier behavior of sneaking to the back of the house, his father decided to hire a tutor. Officially so, the kids don't fall behind on their studies. Unofficially, so somebody can keep an eye on Bruno. Later that day, bored out of his mind under a tree, Bruno wanders over to a lieutenant washing his father's car and asks for help finding a tire.
Are there any spare tires around? I want to make a swing.
A swing? That does sound exciting.
He wants to build himself a swing. The lieutenant barks an order at the same elderly servant, who shuffles over slowly enough to earn a hurry up and gets sent off with Bruno to dig through the warehouse for a spare tire. While the servant searches, Bruno clocks a window in the warehouse, filed away for later, before the tire's found and the swing gets built. Not long after, a plume of black smoke rises in the distance. Bruno stands up on the swing to get a better look and promptly falls right off it. He hits the ground hard, and the person who rushes over to help isn't his mother or a guard. It's that same servant who bandages the wound without a second thought. Bruno, being 8 and dramatic, asks if he's going to die from blood loss. The servant reassures him it's nothing serious. Curious now, Bruno asks what he used to do before all this. Turns out the man was a doctor. Bruno, not thinking, jokes that his medical skills must not have been very good if he ended up here peeling potatoes. The servant's eyes well up and he says nothing. Some jokes only land because the person telling them has no idea how sharp they are. His mother finds them together, spots the bandage, and freezes for a beat when she realizes a Jewish prisoner just tended to her son's injury. She sends Bruno to his room, but before walking away herself, she pauses and says 2 words to the servant.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's such a small gesture, but for him it's the first time in longer than he can remember that a German has treated him like a person. That's how low the bar has been set. A week into camp life, Bruno's still climbing the walls with boredom, hoping the new tutor might liven things up. Instead, the lessons are all German history. His older sister, 12 and eager, eats it up, while 8-year-old Bruno zones out completely, handed a book he can't even get through. The only thing that still excites him is that door out back. So he sneaks through it again, into the warehouse, out the window, and into the woods beyond. And for a second, he's flying again. Free. He crosses a rickety bridge, whips at the grass with a stick, plays make-believe war games entirely alone, crosses a ditch, and finally reaches the field he's been dying to explore. On one side, lush green forest. On the other, behind the wire, barren dirt and rows of people working. The contrast says everything the movie hasn't spelled out loud yet. Sitting near the fence, Bruno spots a boy on the other side, and always hungry for a friend, walks right up and says hello. The boy looks back warily, no guards in sight, so he risks talking. His name is Shmuel, also 8.
Have you got lots of friends over there?
A few, but we fight a lot. That's why I like being out here.
Bruno, delighted, invites him over to play, but Shmuel's first question isn't about games.
Have you got any food on you?
It's whether Bruno brought any food. Bruno says no, then asks if he's hungry. Shmuel nods. Bruno, completely missing the weight of that exchange, is more interested in the number stitched onto Shmuel's clothing, half convinced it's part of some game. Before he can ask more, the camp siren blares and Shmuel scrambles back to his wheelbarrow. Short meeting. Bruno's still buzzing about it like he discovered a new continent. Back home, he starts hunting for spare toys and swipes chocolate off the dining table for his new friend. But when he sneaks back to the fence, there's no sign of Shmuel. The next day, his mother wants to take him shopping in town. He flat out refuses, because now all he wants is to find Shmuel again. The second she drives off, he bolts for the field, and luckily, there Shmuel is. This time, Bruno asks about the striped uniforms. Shmuel says he doesn't know why everyone wears them either, only that he hates the soldiers who took their regular clothes. Bruno, on the other hand, worships soldiers. His dad's one after all, and in Bruno's head, that automatically makes him one of the good guys out there making everyone's life better. He asks about the black smoke too, complaining about the smell. Shmuel, just as clueless, guesses they're burning old clothes. Seeing Bruno empty-handed again, Shmuel looks disappointed. So Bruno invites him over for a meal instead. Shmuel points at the fence. Bruno assumes it's to keep wild animals out. Shmuel corrects him. It's to keep people in. When Bruno asks why, Shmuel just says,
I'm a Jew.
Because I'm a Jew. 2 8-year-olds staring at that sentence with absolutely no framework to understand what it actually means in this place at this time. Before parting, Shmuel asks Bruno to come back tomorrow and to bring food if he can. Around this time, the tutor's lesson turns to how Jewish people supposedly brought catastrophe on Germany during the war. Bruno, in classic Bruno fashion, asks if there are any good Jewish people. The tutor's answer is dressed up as profound.
If you ever found a nice Jew, you would be the best explorer in the world.
Find one, and you'll be the greatest explorer alive. It sails right over Bruno's head. He's a kid, not a philosopher, and this whole exchange is happening years before he's equipped to understand any of it. True to his word, Bruno shows up the next day with bread for Shmuel, then tosses a ball through the fence, hoping to play catch. Shmuel throws it straight back and begs him not to do that again, ducking under a pile of concrete blocks in genuine fear of being spotted by guards. Bruno, still not grasping the stakes, just asks what's wrong. Why doesn't he want to play? For Shmuel, being caught playing with anything could mean a beating. For Bruno, it's still just a game. The siren cuts the visit short again, and Bruno heads home disappointed, ball in hand, quickly lying to his mother that it just rolled away. That evening, the smell of smoke drifts through the house again, and the lieutenant lets slip a comment about burning them, smelling even worse. Bruno's mother catches it immediately and demands he repeat himself. The lieutenant realizes his mistake too late. She stares out at the black smoke in horror, finally putting together what that place actually is and what her husband is actually doing there. That night, she confronts Ralph directly. He scrambles to explain it away as a state secret, something he swore an oath on, something even family can't know, insisting it's all for the good of the fatherland. She's not buying a word of it, and the fight ends with her screaming at him to stay away from her. Bruno, oblivious to what any of it's about, wanders in only to announce that his grandfather has arrived for a visit. The following evening, the lieutenant who let the secret slip gets invited to dinner. And it's obvious from the moment he sits down that Ralph is hunting for a reason to punish him. That reason arrives when the elderly servant, pouring wine, accidentally spills a glass. The lieutenant explodes, drags him outside, and beats him savagely. Bruno's mother hears the screams and silently begs Ralph to intervene. He doesn't move. That night, Bruno asks his sister why their father didn't stop it. Her answer: that's exactly what the Jew deserved. She's been fully swallowed by the propaganda at this point, hating an entire people without ever having to justify why. When Bruno asks if their father is a good man, she doesn't hesitate. Of course he is, especially now that he's helping make the country strong again. Meanwhile, their mother lies awake all night, gaunt and sleepless, unable to process that her husband let a man be beaten half to death and simply looked away. It's around here that Bruno starts to sense, in his own limited way, that he and Shmuel come from two different worlds entirely, that by his sister's logic, they're not friends, they're enemies. And yet the next time he spots Shmuel, brought inside to polish wine glasses because his hands are small enough for the job, Bruno still walks right up and says hello. He notices Shmuel eyeing a plate of cake, grabs a piece and hands it over without a second thought. Shmuel wolfs it down, and that's exactly when the lieutenant walks in, still looking for someone to take his anger out on. Cornered and terrified, Shmuel blurts out that the cake came from his friend Bruno. The lieutenant rounds on Bruno immediately.
Do you know this too?
Does he know this boy? And here's where the movie delivers its gut punch. Bruno looks the lieutenant dead in the eye and says no. Says he'd never seen him before, that the boy was already eating when he walked in. A lie dressed as self-preservation, aimed at the one person who's shown him nothing but kindness in this entire miserable camp. The lieutenant orders Shmuel back to the glasses and storms off, promising to return. Alone in his room, Bruno's guilt sets in almost instantly. He rushes back down to find Shmuel and apologize, but the boy's already been swapped out for someone else. He searches the fence for him for the rest of the day and comes up empty. Not long after, a parade of officers arrives at the house, all trading crisp salutes before filing into the camp screening room. Bruno sneaks up to a window and watches his father present a documentary showing Jewish prisoners supposedly living comfortable, happy lives. To Bruno, this confirms everything his sister told him. His father really is out here helping people. What he can't possibly grasp is that it's propaganda, footage crafted purely to reassure soldiers that vigilance is still necessary. When the screening ends, Bruno runs straight into his father's arms, beaming with pride, while upstairs his mother watches the whole scene with nothing but contempt on her face. Justice of a twisted sort does land on the lieutenant. He's demoted for leaking the state secret and shipped straight to the front lines. Guilt-ridden over what he did to Shmuel, Bruno starts bringing toys to the fence, hoping to find him and make things right. 2 days pass with no sign of him. On the third, Bruno finally spots him sitting on the ground, head down, spirit clearly broken, and now sporting a fresh wound around his eye. Bruno tries to apologize, fumbling for the right words, and to his relief, Shmuel doesn't hold the grudge. He accepts the apology without complaint, and just like that, the two are back to being friends. Bruno smuggling him food, the two of them playing checkers through the fence.
That one there, two there. This one. One, two here. No, there.
Two kids from opposite sides of history somehow finding a strange kind of harmony in a place built to prevent exactly that. But things are moving fast now. Bruno's mother is unraveling, sleepless nights, mounting despair, edging towards something close to breakdown. And Ralph finally decides to send her and the children back to stay with their grandfather. Before they leave, Bruno makes one last trip to find Shmuel to say goodbye. Except Shmuel has his own crisis. His father has gone missing inside the camp, and he begs Bruno to help him search. Bruno, treating it like the adventure he's always wanted, agrees without a second's hesitation. He discovers the soil beneath the fence is soft enough to dig through with a small shovel, and the two of them make a plan. Shmuel will come back tomorrow with a spare set of striped pajamas to help Bruno blend in, and Shmuel makes sure to remind him, bring a big sandwich too. That night, neither boy sleeps a wink. The next morning, sandwich in hand, shovel in the other, Bruno races to the field. Shmuel's already waiting, already dressed in the striped pajamas he'd stashed. Only then does Bruno realize the sandwich fell somewhere along the way. Lost. There's no time to go back for it. Shmuel quickly strips off the extra uniform for Bruno to put on, and Bruno starts digging. Back at the house, his mother finishes packing and realizes Bruno is nowhere to be found. By the time Bruno finishes crawling through, he's fully inside the camp for the first time, and it's nothing like the story he's built up in his head. Shmuel leads him into a cramped barrack packed wall to wall with prisoners in striped uniforms, faces hollowed out, barely alive. A gunshot rings out and the room is emptied at gunpoint. The two boys get swept into the crowd, herded forward with no idea where they are being taken, surrounded by the elderly, the sick, the ones deemed unfit for labor. Back at the house, Bruno's mother realizes he's missing and starts a frantic search. His sister finds the dropped sandwich by the warehouse door. Panic sets in immediately, and the mother rushes to tell Ralph their son is gone. Every soldier on the property is mobilized. When they finally break down that small back door, mother and sister follow close behind, rain suddenly pouring from the sky. Inside the camp, the crowd is marched down the road. Bruno, still not understanding what's happening, assumes they're being led somewhere to get out of the rain. Soldiers order everyone to undress. One older prisoner tries to comfort those around him.
No, it's just a shower.
It's just a shower, he says. Bruno, believing him completely, starts undressing too. But instead of a shower, they're herded into a sealed room. The door shuts. A German soldier in a gas mask pours something in from outside. And then, screaming, from behind that iron door, the kind that doesn't stop, Ralph sprints toward the camp, sees the black smoke rising, and starts screaming his son's name like a man coming apart at the seams. His wife reaches the fence just after, collapses against it, sobbing into her son's discarded clothes while the rain keeps falling. Ralph stands there in silence, gutted, never once imagining that this, the exact machinery he built and ran, would be the thing that came back to take his son. Outside, the laundry line still hangs full of striped pajamas. Bruno paid the ultimate price, not for anything he did, but for the world his father built around him, without ever asking if he wanted to live in it. Good answered with good, evil answered with evil. That's supposed to be how it works. But there's nothing that balances out a child paying for crimes he never understood, in a war he never asked to be part of. I'd put this one at a 9 out of 10. It doesn't hit you with violence. It hits you with innocence, and somehow that's worse. If this story stuck with you the way it stuck with me, support the channel in any way you can. Drop a comment, like, or even subscribe if you wish. Anyone you choose will be appreciated. Thank you and see you in the next one. Peace.